Hello everyone! So I know I've been slacking with these uploads in the part of the series, but I promise you, 3 of these videos are coming this week, so don't even worry, you're going to get all your fill of your little tutorial content. For this video, I specifically want to focus on both the nose and the ears, and I'm going to go into depth about those. So mainly I'm going to be focusing on an anime style nose, which is sort of just a little line with like blush and like shading. And for the ears, I'm going to focus on both human ears and also cat ears, as I'm showing you here. So we're back to our little nightmare. Wait, I should probably close her mouth for you guys. And today we're going to be working on her nose and her ears, which is actually quite simple. The main thing that you have to sort of keep in mind with the nose, we'll start with the nose, is that you want to keep a lot of it separate, but you don't necessarily have to draw like different parts. Okay, we got rid of the nose. So with the nose, you have a couple of main parts, and I'm going to do an anime style nose. So I'll put pictures on the screen of what you typically see in anime, and I focus on that because that's usually what people go for when they're starting a VTuber model. So with the nose, you have your main little nose bump out here. You have the shadow, and these are all in like really abstract colors so that you can see them properly. You have the highlight, you have your blush on top. So these parts you're going to want to keep separate, so that when you're moving your face from left to right or up and down, you can move them separately, because if they're stuck together, it's going to look real flat. Like, so when you move your face in person, right, the light will bounce off of it differently depending on where you're looking and where the light source is. And usually with VTubers, you don't have that like super main problem, like the light is right in front of them. However, when you turn to the side, if the light is right in front of them, it's now going to cast a shadow on their nose. Let's just get into drawing the nose. First, just pick whatever color you want. As always, stylistic choices are up to you completely. You do not need a symmetry layer with this one, unless you want to have like a line on both sides, but usually just like a line sort of down the middle is what you need. So I'm going to start by just drawing our main nose line. So very simplistic, but gets the job done. That is, do whatever you want, you know, this is simply just to teach you how to do it, and you can stylize it however you wish. After drawing the main nose line, we're going to want to add in the shading. So I'm going to pick our darker color, and then just go underneath with this. So typically I just do sort of a triangle shape, but again, you can do whatever you want with this. So now let's do a little bit of highlight. So I'm going to match the skin tone and then just go into a lighter color, and then just do sort of a teardrop shape. Obviously do whatever you want, your nose will look different, so you might want to do sort of a circle shape or anything else. And then I'm just going to blur this a little bit so it blends in more. And now you might want to add this in, but if you happen to want a character that has blush across their nose, just pick any sort of blush color, like a pink or a red. And on another layer, obviously, do your blush shape. Okay, so this is my nose done. It's very exaggerated, so the colors look a bit strange, but do whatever you want, as always. So with these 4 layers here, so we have the shadow, we have the main nose line, we have the blush, and we have the highlight. This is typically how I would order them, and you can make different shapes or whatever. You can color in the nose using the line art, so like a similar thing to what we did with the lips, where there's like a piece of skin above the top lip and below the bottom lip. You can do that with the nose if you want, but it's not super necessary. Just do it if there's like some weird shading or like blush around the cheeks and stuff that you want to preserve. Okay, so let's now do the ears now that we have our nose out of the way. So I'm going to start with the human ears, because I'm sure most of you will be using those, although a lot of the VTubers I see typically have their hair covering their ears, and you can only sort of see it when they like turn their head to the side or up or down or something. But here, I'll still go over it just in case you happen to want to tie your hair up or something. So with the ears, they're very simple. Yeah, they're very simple. I think I'll do human, elf, and sort of cat or like furry ears. Do a drawing assist guide like a symmetry tool, unless you want like your character has just one ear or has 2 different ears or something like that. For the human ear, you're just going to want to draw sort of a round ovally shape. I usually draw mine behind the head layer, and as always with VTuber models, you want to make sure it's connected, so turn off your skin layer and just connect it. And then I just do a sort of simple line here and then line up to give the illusion of an ear. So you can do whatever you want, you can make it as stylized or detailed as you want, but this is the main and basic. Perfect, we have our ears. So the main thing with ears is actually the ear piercings and stuff. So if you want ear piercings that are dynamic and move when you move your head and stuff, you want to draw those in a separate layer. So I'm going to draw some large hoops right now and we'll see how that works together. So I have my hoops drawn, and with these you can either keep them as one piece as I have here, so they just have the loop around, or you can connect them into 2 pieces, which means they would flow a lot easier, but it doesn't really matter with these sort of earrings, that it can be simple enough. And now let's do it with some dangly earrings. So we have the line here, which is the long string here that's hanging down onto our main earring, and those are separated because if you have, like, due to physics, right, if you have a long string holding something that's heavier than the string at the end, the bit at the end is going to move faster or slower depending on the way you have your model rigged. So you having those separately means you can turn the bottom, which is a heart in this case, and it can move slower, and then the string can move a little bit faster, so it can look like there's like a pulling sensation, so look a little more dynamic. And then let's do some top ear piercings. So with these we just have a hoop again and a little stud, and for the studs you can kind of just keep them in the same place. I would still put them on a different layer just so when you move your ears you can move them properly, and like some of them will be hidden by certain movements and stuff, but the hoops I would put separately and also apply physics to those, and you can move them up and down when you move your head, but don't move them too much, otherwise it's going to look a little weird unless that's what you're going for. All of these sort of elf ears are going to look very different depending on what style you want. You might want yours to go up like this and have that sort of shape, or you might want it just be like very long and like pointy like that. There's a lot of different shapes you can do with these, so I recommend just like looking up sort of elf ears on Google and you'll be able to find like examples of a ton. I'll put in some examples here if I find it like a grid guide. So choose whatever shape you want, and they work pretty much the same as human ears, except for the fact that you're going to want to disconnect the very tip of them, depending on the shape obviously, but if you have longer ears you're going to want to disconnect the tip so you can apply physics to them, so they'll jiggle a little bit whenever you move your head. Okay, cool, we have our line art done. And so what I would usually do with ears like this, because I merged the line art and the shading like layers, some people don't, some people do, it really depends on preference, but because I do that, I'm going to just color in the ears like normal. Okay, so pretend my ears are fully rendered. I'm going to merge the line art layer and our skin shade layer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the very tip off of the end of the ears. So now we have our tips disconnected and the end doesn't have the earpiece, so we're still going to want to do the little connection piece, but it's going to look a little different than normal. So what I do with these is I'll just get our skin color and I'll just draw sort of a general circular shape to end it. And then we have all our pieces joined together. So with these, you're going to want to just rig them so there's a little bit of a jiggle. When I go into like the rigging tutorials, I'll do this more in depth so you can actually see what I'm on about. But basically, with ears this long, they're going to be a lot more fragile, so they're going to move a little bit. So this is why you want them disconnected. The same earrings apply to this, like the same things I did on the human ears. Just disconnect them, and depending on the earring shape, you want to maybe disconnect some more parts or less parts depending on what you want. So there's our elf ears, and now I'm going to go into cat ears. So I'm going to focus on cat ears for this, but you can apply this to any sort of ears, like you want dog ears or fox ears. You'll draw them the same. If you want elephant ears, I don't know if I can help you with that one, but same applies, just draw the outside layers. So with this, you want to think about how the outside looks and also how the inside looks. So typically with cat ears, I'll put a picture on screen. You have the outside, which has this very thin layer of skin, and usually it's folded over. If you're looking at them head on, there's a little bit that's folded over that you can see in the very front. And then you can see the fluffy bit of the inside and also the inside of the skin. Let's draw these together. Here, I'll give you an example of what bits you need first. So first we have the outer piece, right? Which is consistent of the piece here on the outside, which you see from the head-on view, and also this sort of inside shell, which is just mostly acts as the line art. And then in the pink we have the inside skin piece, and we're going to want to extend this a little bit further than you can see from the outside bit, so that when you're turning your head to the side you can actually see more of the pink than you can of our navy here. And then on top of the inside skin we have the little fluffy pieces. You can add as much to this or as little to this as you want, but I'm going to go with one piece here just for understanding. Okay, so our green is the little fluffy piece. You can also add piercings to this if you want to spike your cat, but the same physics applies as the other ears that we've done, so the human ears and the elf ears. You're going to want to put them on a separate layer. So now that we have our example, feel free to screenshot it. We'll move on to the actual ears and show you how to draw those. So I'm using a symmetry tool again. You don't have to. If you want a droopy look on one side or an alert look, or you want them to be a little uneven, but if you want them to be super even, just use a symmetry tool. The main difference with the cat ears rather than the human or the elf ears is with the human and the elf ears, I would suggest to just keep them on the same layer, like the left and right one on the same layer. But for the cat ears, I would recommend separating them. So you can draw them on the same layer to begin with and then just separate them later. But separate them so that if you're turning your head, you can move one more one way and the other less, or you want one ear to be confused, or whatever you want to do with it. So let's just go with a purple cat ear. So our poor little Molly here doesn't have hair yet. We're coming to that soon. But blend your ears into your hair, either cover with them with the bangs, or if you've got shorter hair, just make it sort of a color that blends in, or just ombre it up or down. So here is our outside shell that we're working with. We're going to use another layer to put the inside like we did earlier. And I have extended this back the entire way, so it actually comes back here, just so when you're moving it can be more fluid. And plus you might want to change how it looks in Live 2D, and just doing this means that you have the buffer so you can choose to do whatever you want. Blend this into the hair as well, so you can either just put some fluff in front of it, or you can just blend it down. So let's get another layer and do the fluff. So we have our fluff, and again this is pushed inside the air. And just if you have short hair and you're not really sure about how to blend it, I'll do another layer here to show you how it can be done. So you can just sort of do a little hair tuft shape in front of it, and then color that in, and it should be able to cover it. So these are the main sort of parts that you will need to do cat ears or wolf ears or fox ears or whatever you like. These are the basics, so you can expand on this however you like. Feel free to do anything you want with it, but these are the basics. So we went over human ears, elf ears, cat ears, and also the nose. So if you had any help with anything, if you have any questions, please just comment them and I'll get back to you. As for now, goodbye, and I will see you again on Wednesday.